Guys, Nosler 42 here. Well, we're out in the boonies here. We're going to test some bullets on my different rifles. And this is the 308 Savage that you've seen. You didn't see me Duracoat it, but you've seen the after effects of it. So this is Duracoat. This is Extreme Tactical Dark Green, and this is Extreme Tactical Dark Gray. Unfortunately, not nearly as green as I had hoped for, and you know, not as much of a definition. But you know what, when you're out here in these pine forests, this is almost identical color as the stalk of a pine tree. So anyway, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using this 308. We're going to be testing 5 or 6 different bullet combinations, see what kind of penetration we get, and see what kind of expansion we get. We've got some Barnes, we've got some Nosler bullets, we've got some Hornady bullets to test. So let's go check out how these do, and let's go fire off some rounds. 150 grain Barnes Tip triple shock, and then the other one you seen me loading up here just the other day is a 180 grain Barnes Tip triple shock. So the 150 grain bullet will go first. Alright, as you can see, that 150 is just violent right from the get-go. And she just gets even more violent. My goodness. I'm going to bring that down so you guys can see that temporary wound cavity this thing's making. It's insane. Alright, there's the 150 grain temporary wound cavity. Look at that. Oh my, look at this. I almost got my fist through it. And it's still going. And it's still going. And it's still going. Oh my goodness gracious. Alright, this 150 grain had 23 inches of penetration. Just amazing. Alright, right there is the 180 grain Barnes. That's the non-tipped. Oh my goodness, look at that. See that? Oh my goodness, another hand-sized hole. Wowzers. Temporary wound cavity of 180 grain Barnes triple shock. I say temporary in flesh, you know, permanent in this kind of a... Oh my goodness gracious. Let's stack her up here so we can get a penetration, depth penetration. Now guys, keep in mind, this is totally unscientific. It's as much for entertainment as it is for how these bullets are going to actually act out in the field. But you know, from what I found to testing bullets for quite a few years, how they act in the field is pretty much going to be how they act in this test media. And we're still, I think we'll probably out-penetrate. Oh, you know what? The 150s actually penetrated a little deeper. Probably because it's got a higher velocity is my guess. Only by about a ½ an inch. So let's get a depth of penetration on this puppy. Of 22.5 inches. So about ½ an inch less penetration with the 180s, but you still have the exact same textbook perfect mushrooming. I can't state it enough, guys. These Barnes bullets are just they're the cat's ass. They do what they say they're gonna do. Alright, let's try some not so premium bullets. Alright guys, this is a 165 grain Nosler Ballistic Tip. Very popular deer cartridge. Well, pretty good temporary cavity. She opens right up. Not bad so far. I'm more impressed than I thought I would be with this. It's still going. She's still got a good temporary wound cavity too. I think she's starting to drop off a bit now. Still going, still going, still going, still going. Wow, I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. Alright, there's the end of it. But I'm afraid this is what I'm not impressed with. There sure ain't much left of it. But you know what? For deer, I can't see there being anything wrong with that. Let's get the penetration depth on this puppy. "15 inches. So, you know, less penetration and a lot less weight retention, but boy, she's some pretty devastating effects of that. Alright guys, here's my old standby 180 grain Nosler Partition. Not terribly spectacular entrance. She starts opening up a little bit farther out, but then by golly, when she opens up, look at that. Look at that, eh? Make sure you guys can see that. Nosler Partitions have always been the standby round for me. They shoot well in my guns. They've never let me down. Though I did take a smallish whitetail with this same load a few years ago, and honestly I was kind of unimpressed with the amount of penetration I got after it hit bone. But this wet newspaper is doing pretty good. Surprisingly enough, here so far there's not a single load that I would say, you know what, I wouldn't advise. But I think these have just opened up and out penetrated my vaunted Barnes bullets. Yes, they sure have. And it's done everything a Nosler always does. This actually is the Combined Technologies ballist, the Combined Technologies. So there it is. The shanks, the 8 mantle sent a little bit farther, but just like all partitions, it's shed its outer front, blasted off the lead, made a massive wound channel, and penetrated very, very deeply. Like I said, by golly, you can't go wrong with the partition. So let's see what we got for penetration on the partition. I'm actually pretty impressed. It's probably the best yet. Excuse the bumping. Well, not quite. We got 20 inches for the 300 grain partitions. So, you know, only a few inches behind the Barnes X bullet, and they're both the same price. Alright, now on this one we got the old 150 grain Hornady boat tail soft point. Entry wound right there. Yeah, it's not doing too much. Still pretty unspectacular. Right there. Let's just move our camera. Alright, 150 grain. Starting to get a little bit better. Oh, you can see she's punching it out now a bit better. Now she's starting to do something. So she penetrates deep and then she just goes all to hell. Look at that. Opens right up. Massive wound. Not sure what we're going to get for penetration depth on this. Now, I've taken deer with 150 grain Hornady in the past. It's been a dead deer. And we're still going here, guys. I'm impressed. Really impressed with this. Looks like she's changed course on me a bit. Alright, Hornady 150 grain. Right there. Peeled right back. You know, this will do the trick, and it's inexpensive, and we got now 308 velocities, a foot of penetration. So yeah, that would go right through a whitetail, you know, 100 yards broadside. So yeah, there's the 150 grain Hornadies. Now we're going to switch over to a different caliber.